A very serious accusation has just gained traction in the heart of the Middle East. An American journalist was kidnapped in Baghdad, and the case is already being seen as yet another sign of the armed network linked to Iran expanding beyond its borders. This Wednesday, April 1st, 2026, Shelley Kittleson's name became central to this crisis. After Iraqi authorities and United States sources confirmed the kidnapping of the reporter in the capital of Iraq, what happened next was direct and brutal. Shelley Kittleson, an independent American journalist with a history of reporting in Iraq and Syria, was taken by armed men in broad daylight on Saddam Street in downtown Baghdad. Surveillance footage showed the moment when she was forced into a vehicle. After that, a chase began. One of the cars used by the kidnappers crashed during the escape. A suspect was arrested and a vehicle was seized, but the journalist was not inside the car and remains missing. No group has officially claimed responsibility for this kidnapping yet. But the main point is something else. United States authorities say that the main suspect is Kataib Hezbollah, an Iraqi militia aligned with Iran. That alters the story's political weight. We're not talking about an ordinary crime, we're talking about a kidnapping, which according to the academic line of investigation so far, points to an armed wing of the Iranian axis inside Iraq. The US Treasury itself has already stated in an official document that Kataib Hezbollah is trained, funded, and supported by the Quds Force of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, in addition to having a history of attacks, intimidation, and even kidnapping operations. And why does this matter so much? Because this case sheds light on an old but still devastating method, using proxy militias to act where Tehran wants to pressure, intimidate, and spread fear without appearing on the front lines. The kidnapping of an American journalist in Baghdad doesn't affect just one person. It affects the press, challenges the Iraqi government, and tests the reaction of the United States. And it reinforces the image that the apparatus linked to Iran continues to operate beyond its own nation. When a reporter is taken off the street by armed men in a central area of the Iraqi capital, the message is clear. It is also noteworthy that Shelley Kittleson had already been warned about threats. According to the Associated Press, she received repeated warnings, including on the night before the kidnapping, to leave Iraq. Because of a concrete risk, this shows that the danger did not come out of nowhere. There were signs, there was movement, there was real fear. Even so, the journalist was still captured. This makes the episode even more disturbing, and all of this leads us to a harsh conclusion. Iran may not have directly claimed responsibility for this act, but the shadow of its regional network hangs over the situation once again. When a militia the United States says is allied with and backed by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps comes into play, the argument that Tehran is distant from these actions loses strength. What we see is a network that continues to operate, pressuring and turning journalists, civilians, and Western targets into pawns in a political confrontation. And this is not an isolated incident. The case is reminiscent of the kidnapping of Elizabeth Surkov, a researcher taken in Iraq in 2023, and according to authorities, linked to the same militia. This history increases the seriousness of the moment and shows that the pattern repeats itself: capture, silence, pressure, and the use of fear as a political weapon. The difference now is that the victim is an American journalist, amid a regional escalation that has already placed Iran and its allies at the center of a much larger crisis. In the end, the most important question is simple: why does a journalist become a target? Why do regimes, militias, and radical groups fear information when it gets too close? Whoever kidnaps a reporter doesn't just want to take someone out of circulation. They want to silence the story, intimidate witnesses, and prove their power. That's why this case shouldn't be treated as a local episode. It's a stark portrait of the shadow war waged in the region by Iran's armed influence apparatus.